Don't you love that song, Christmas Time is Here? You can picture Charlie Brown and Snoopy and Lucy and the gang skating as they're singing together. Christmas time is here, happiness and cheer. Or is it stress and tears? Oh, welcome to Faith Filter with Pastor Jesse Bradley from Grace Community Church in Auburn, Washington. I'm Erica. Pastor Jesse, I am so happy you're here because I feel like at this point, we start getting a little holiday anxiety, a little jittery, thinking about everything that we've got to get done. And I'm wondering, how can we tamp down that anxiety and ramp up the joy?
Yes, Erica, what could be stressful about overfilling our calendar, trying to get Christmas lights on the whole house,
Yes.
the shopping list? What could be stressful about all that? I was seeing that the American Psychological Association said that over 90% of people have some anxiety when it comes to get-togethers and family get-togethers.
Yes.
So it stirs for all of us, but we know that's not what this season is about. So, anxiety hits us at different points in life. I like to say identify the why. Just slow down for a minute, and what is the reason we're feeling anxious? And there's eustress and distress. Eustress is good, like I've got to get moving, like maybe I need to do some things today, or I need to come up with a plan, or I should pray, or I got to reprioritize. So, sometimes we need some adrenaline, but distress is what undermines us, and we get overwhelmed and discouraged, and that's not coming from the Lord. So
Yep.
I would say this, maybe just to start, that it's okay to simplify, and it's okay to say no during this holiday season. If you're someone that says yes to everything, it could be a good time to cultivate that habit of saying no, and also don't overspend, because a lot of stress is tied to money, and if you overspend, you're way over budget, you haven't made a budget, yes, it might be a generous intention, but you might look back in January like, what just happened to our family? So those are some practical pieces to start with.
I think that's really good. Pastor Jesse, it's funny. Early this morning, it was about 4:30. That's about the time I leave the house. I walked into my living room and the Christmas tree lights were still on. And I had this moment. It was just beautiful, light in the darkness. And then I went outside and it was so quiet and it was really foggy, but there was still some moonlight. And I thought, you know what? This season is the perfect time to remember that Jesus is the light of the world and he can light up any darkness, physical, spiritual, emotional. Isn't that right?
That's such a good reminder, Erica. I love how you slowed down and took that time with the Lord. We don't thank you enough for waking up at 4 in the morning to have this morning show.
Oh, thank
you are
you.
devoted. We appreciate you so much. You're always serving.
Thank you.
When you think about how rich this time can be, Emmanuel, God with us. And it all comes down to God's presence, nearness to God. That's what we celebrate at Christmas. We celebrate Jesus. And abiding with Jesus is going to be the cure. Jesus is the answer. And as you're close to the Lord, this is what happens. You start to give things to the Lord. Lord, here's my to-do list today. God, here's something I can't control, a health situation. God, here's a relationship, and I need your wisdom, but I'm giving it to you. And that giving it to the Lord, that's when we experience peace and freedom. We often want to grab control. Yes, we're going to be active, but we need to trust God with the final results. So I think, as you just said, slow down and sometimes reflect. What's pulling us away from Jesus? Like today, right now, what worry is pulling us away from Jesus? What distraction, what despair is pulling us away from Jesus? And say no to what's not from God. And I think as we continue to pray, thanking God, giving him burdens, the peace of God transcends all understanding, and it's available to all of us. And Jesus is our peace. He's the Prince of Peace.
Oh, so thankful for him. Thank you for helping us ramp up the joy.
Yes, Erica, let's just in those stressful moments, just keep saying, Emmanuel, God with us. And that's what we'll preach to ourselves. Emmanuel, God with us.
And he's never leaving. Thank you, Pastor Jesse.